All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're cracking open a really foundational text, something from the wild early days of the internet. It's short, it's provocative, and its ideas have been making waves for more than 30 years. This is our explainer on the Crypto Anarchist Manifesto. Right off the bat, this manifesto does not mess around. It opens with this super dramatic line. And yeah, that's a deliberate echo of another very famous manifesto. It's meant to signal a revolution. It just grabs you from the get-go. So, what on earth is this specter it's talking about? Well, the core idea here is a world where technology allows all our online interactions, I mean everything, from chats to business deals, to be completely anonymous and untraceable. Your identity isn't your government-issued name anymore. It's just your reputation, what you're known for online.
And you might think this sounds like a pretty new idea, right? But it's not. This thing was being passed around way back in 1988 at these super specialized conferences for cryptographers and hackers. Then in 1992, it was actually read out loud at the first ever meeting of the cypherpunks. So yeah, these ideas have really deep roots in the communities that build the web we use every single day.
But how could a world like this actually work? Is it just a cool idea, a fantasy? Well, the manifesto argues that it's not a philosophical dream, but a straight-up engineering problem. So let's look at the how. And here's the crucial point. The author wasn't just inventing science fiction. The argument was that the math, the theory behind crypto-anarchy, had been sitting in academic papers for years. The only thing missing was the raw computing power to make it practical for you and me. And this right here, this is the engine that was supposed to make it all go. The manifesto points to these specific crypto methods as the essential building blocks. You've got public key encryption, which lets two people talk securely without ever sharing a secret key. And then you have stuff like zero-knowledge proofs, which is a wild way of proving you know something without revealing the thing you know. These were seen as the technical keys to this whole new world.
Now, what's kind of wild is how spot on this list turned out to be. You gotta remember, this was written in 1988, and yet it lists the exact hardware that would make this vision, quote, essentially unstoppable. Fast networks, powerful PCs, smart cards. It sounds so familiar because this basically became the tech shopping list for the future that we're all living in right now.
Okay, so you have the technology, it's spreading. What happens to the world?
Well, the manifesto predicts nothing less than a complete social and economic revolution. This is the why of it all. This cable really lays out the core of that predicted transformation. Over on the left, you've got the world most of us know, right? Your identity is your legal name, your transactions are regulated and taxed, but on the right, you see the vision of crypto-anarchy. Your reputation is your only ID, your deals are anonymous, and basically all information becomes a product you can buy and sell on a totally free market. Now, to get across just how huge this change would be, the manifesto pulls out a really powerful historical comparison. It asks us to think about the printing press, and how that one invention completely blew up the power structures of its time, just by making information available to everyone.
And there's the punchline. The text is basically saying that cryptography is going to be for our time what the printing press was for the medieval world. It's a technology so disruptive that it will fundamentally change how governments and big companies can operate, or, interfere in our economic lives.
Of course, a change this big isn't going to happen without a fight. The author wasn't naive at all. It was stated very clearly that governments would, without a doubt, try to slow down or even stop this technology from spreading. And here are the reasons the manifesto predicted the state would give for fighting back. It foresaw that the official arguments would be all about national security, criminals using the tech, people not paying taxes, and even the fear of society itself falling apart. It's almost like a playbook of the opposition that was expected. But this is where things get really interesting. The manifesto doesn't just write these fears off as government propaganda. Instead, it leans in. It says, you know what? A lot of these concerns, they're going to be totally valid. In Man, the author is brutally honest about the potential consequences. The text explicitly says that crypto anarchy will lead to markets for state secrets, for stolen goods, and even, quote, abhorrent markets for assassinations. It just accepts this dark side as a necessary, unavoidable price for total anonymous freedom.
So, where does that leave us? Let's get to the manifesto's conclusion and see how it builds to this final, defiant point about what control and property even mean. The text ends with one last, incredible analogy. It brings up barbed wire, this simple, cheap invention that completely changed how we think about land and property. It let people fence off huge areas and say, for the first time, this is mine. And here is the big finale. The punchline. If government rules and intellectual property laws are the barbed wire fencing in our modern world of information, then cryptography is the wire cutters. See, it's not building a new fence, it's the tool that will let us dismantle all the old ones. And it all builds to this final, powerful call to action. It's a spin on a famous historical rallying cry, completely reframed for the digital age. It's a declaration that the fences controlling our information are man-made, and the tools to cut them down are finally here.
So that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? This whole thing was written back in 1988, and here we are in a world full of cryptocurrencies, the dark web, and encrypted messaging apps on all our phones. How much of this future that the manifesto predicted, both the good parts and the really scary parts, is actually our reality now? That's definitely something to chew on.